Hey guys, and welcome to episode 5 of the Better Together podcast with Marty
and Erin, a ministry of Sandridge Baptist Church. Today's episode is focusing, part of our discipleship series that we've been having, focusing on women's ministry at Sandridge. Women's ministry has been a part of my life, or WMU specifically, Women's Missionary Union, or Women on Mission, I think now is how they sometimes refer to it. But I remember as a little girl being a part of Girls in Action and then Act Teens when I was a teenager. Before a lot of churches had youth and children's ministry, that was youth and children's ministry, was RAs for boys and GAs and Act Teens for girls. I even have a crown to prove that I did some work in my teenage years.
They literally gave out
crowns.
They
gave a crown and a scepter and a robe. Yes.
Is that like
it
to lay at the
fancy.
feet of Jesus one day?
I guess. I don't know. I don't know where my crown is now. But yeah, I had the crown. I got lazy after that. But I did, I had my sash with my badges from GAs. But I remember too going with my mom to the WMU meetings that usually were in people's homes. I probably went for the snacks that were included. But I learned at the feet of those women how to pray for missionaries and how to be concerned about Annie Armstrong Easter offering and what the cooperative program was and why that was important to Southern Baptist life and my life as a believer now. That's probably part of why I'm in youth and children's ministry today, is because that was so vital to me in that time.
Bet you also ate a lot of good casseroles.
I did, yes, and cookies and whatever.
Yeah.
And they petted on me because I was a little girl at a women's meeting.
Right. Well, guys, we've been doing this podcast now for a while, and the focus of it is really just so that we connect people's stories with the stories that God is telling,
right?
Not just here in our church, but in the world. And we believe, one of the things I love about Sandridge is that we believe in missions, and we believe not just in reaching out to people locally, but also all over the world through Mexico missions and through other things that we've done. But we, as things, I want to use the right word here, as things restart or reboot or whatever you want to call it, after COVID, I'm really excited that one of the things that we see rebooting and coming out of that is a desire to be on mission.
Yes.
And so today we've got two very special guests with us, Sims and Danielle Adams, and they are here to talk to us about the WMU. But before we do that, and actually also Women on Mission, being active missionally, however our church offers. So before we do that, though, I wanted to ask you the same question we asked for anybody who's listening that maybe don't know who you guys are is, who are you? And so, Ann, we'll start with you. Why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself, how you came to wind up in West Tennessee at Sandridge, and just maybe talk about what you feel like the Lord is doing and leading you to do in your life right now.
Okay. My name is Ann Sims. I have been married to my husband, Bill, for 35 years.
Wow.
And we met at a Christian camp. I was his boss, and I'm still his boss. I needed an extra counselor for my middle school, my middlers, and I found him on staff at the ground staff, and so we recruited him, and that's how we met. We used to live in California. This was a camp back in Lake Tahoe area in Northern California, and we lived in the high mountains, 5,000 foot elevation. But kids and grandkids in South Carolina about 8 years ago said, how'd you like to move out of that snow country? Because when there's not a drought, there's snow, and come to South Carolina. And so we moved to South Carolina 8 years ago, and got involved in a great Southern Baptist church there. We were involved in Southern Baptist Church in Northern California also, but that's where I got acquainted with GAs and RAs and Women on Mission. We didn't have that where I came from, even though it was Southern Baptist Church. And so I got involved in Women on Mission. Wonderful, wonderful group. It was so exciting to know about missionaries, to pray for missionaries. My kids in Children in Action got to write to missionaries, and they wrote back to us. It was just really, really an exciting. And I know that missionaries oftentimes say, that's where I got my start. That's how I got started in missions, was GAs or whatever. And a year and a half ago, the kids had moved away by that time. A year and a half ago, they said, why don't you follow us over here? And Bill's son is in Jackson. And so we moved a year and a half ago here, and we're looking for churches, and we were primarily looking for a church that would have missions programs and women on mission in particular. And we didn't find one here, but we felt that this was where the Lord was leading us, and I felt that he was leading me to help get that started again. So that's kind of how we ended up here.
Praise the Lord.
And
we're
really
glad
excited.
to have you,
Yes.
Bill, here. I don't know if he listens to the show or not, but is he okay with you calling him your boss?
That I'm
yeah,
his
he's
boss.
the boss.
Yeah,
He's
he's
the
the
boss.
that you're
He
his
knows.
boss.
He knows.
Okay.
We actually worked across the hall from each other for 18 years in a middle school. And he deferred to me some of the time, even at school.
I know you guys kind of have a teaching background. That was one of the
Yes,
things that
yes.
you told us. And that which one of you was it that taught art?
He taught art, and he got to teach chess. He loved to teach chess
Really?
as one of his electives. Primarily, he taught some language arts, primarily math and science. And I taught the language arts and social studies in this middle school. And it was just a really neat experience.
Yeah.
Kids
That's
would
really
come in
cool.
at lunchtime and have lunch with us, and they'd say, you guys are all together all the time. Do you really like each other this well? Because they didn't see that kind of thing at their home. So it was neat.
Yeah, absolutely. Danielle, why don't you tell us a little bit about you? Kind of the same process, same question. Who are you? Tell us about your family, how you ended up at Sand Ridge, what you feel like the Lord's doing, all those things.
Okay. Well, my name is Danielle Adams. My husband is Kevin, and we have a lot of kids. We have a total of 6 children. 2 are grown and married, and 1 is married with 2 little girls. So we have grandbabies. So I'm a 43-year-old grandmother. It's kind of cool. I like it, though. I'm known as Grandan, so I like that. That's really neat. And then we still have 4 kids at home, and we homeschool. We're homeschoolers, and that was just a decision that God placed on our heart. We've always followed, and I've never been sorry. Not, it's a lot of work, but I love it. I love teaching my kids, and I love seeing their eyes light up when they understand something, when it clicks and they get it the first time. That's awesome. So, yeah. As far as how I got involved with WMU, to be honest, growing up, I was in a missionary Baptist church. I grew up as the granddaughter of the preacher of a missionary Baptist church. So I didn't have that background of WMU there. I didn't have that. What I did have, though, was a background of coming in contact with missionaries who were coming to share with us all of the time. And because I was the preacher's granddaughter, I got to go and stay at the house because my granddad and my grandmother would always host the missionaries as they came. And so I would love to go and stay the night when they were coming. And there was this one couple in particular, Larry and Sandy Miller, who were missionaries to Thailand, who I just loved them because they would come and bring those old slides. Y'all remember when we used to have the slides and you put the sheet up on the wall and you'd see those? Well, they would do that, and they had all these pictures of Thailand, and I thought they lived in a treehouse because, they had this house up on what looked like stilts, So I thought they lived in a treehouse, and as a child I thought, Larry and Sandy are so cool because they live in a treehouse and they sing Jesus Loves Me to everybody. And I determined when I was little that I wanted to be just like them. And so there was a time when I told them, sitting, at their feet at the base of the couch, talking to them, I said, I want to be good just like you guys, and I want to sing Jesus Loves Me and live in a treehouse with all these people that don't look like me. I want to go around and do that. And so they said, well, you can, but you have to know you have to know Jesus. And I was like, well, I know Jesus because my granddaddy's the preacher. But they were the people who led me to the Lord. They were the reason that I came to know Jesus Christ as my personal Lord and Savior, because they spoke with me and talked with me about knowing Him personally and not just knowing about Him. And so I will forever have them in my heart. Larry and Sandy Miller, y'all, missionaries to Thailand. I wish I knew where they were now. I wish they knew what they did for me personally in my life, how they led me to the Lord. But Yeah, so I really always thought that really gave me this passion and love for missions, just knowing them. And then I had the chance too, when I was a teenager, to live in Mexico with my mother and my stepdad, and that also just kind of just implanted that idea even more in my heart and my mind. And so then when Kevin and I came here to Sand Ridge, that's been, I think it's been 9 years now? We've been here 9 years. When we came here to Sand Ridge, we found out about Mexico Missions Ministries, partnering with Sand Ridge, and that really spoke to my heart a lot. I've had the chance to go on some of those short-term mission trips, and it's just been wonderful. And I've seen how God prepared me in my youth for things that were in the future that I never had a clue, that He was preparing. And so it's just been really wonderful. I'm happy to serve in any way that I possibly can. And then even more recently, the way I kind of got involved with WMU and women's ministry was the fact that I have a tendency to be like a little hermit crab, and hide away. Seriously, and not get out there and not get involved and not even make friends, honestly. And so I found out a couple of years back that there were a group of women here at Sand Ridge, and they were going to this event, this women's event. And I thought it was, honestly, I read the flyer on the bulletin board by the office, and it said Yada, and it had these, I'll never forget, it said it had these colors. The colors for this month are red and purple, and I thought, what is this, like a tea party where you wear hats with like red and purple hats and feathers, I didn't know. And so I got to asking and found out, and what I learned in doing that, it was called Yada, and I started going to Yada with the women, and what I found out there was that not only can I be in the presence of the Lord and digging into His Word with other women, but I realized that I needed other women. I needed the community and the fellowship with other women that I could relate to and that could relate to me, and that we could talk about the things that are burdening us.
Almost like we're better together.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, we are better together.
Yeah.
We really are. And so I realized that what I was missing in my own life was just that community, and that I needed to step out more and try to be a part of things. And man, I don't know, sometimes I think I can come across too strong, like, y'all please like me. But, at the same time, I just want to be involved. I don't want to forsake being fellowshipping in community. And when it's women with women, it's awesome. There's nothing like being together with other women and like-minded women and just being together in the presence of the Lord together. So that's just kind of how I got into that. I still don't know what I'm doing, but I'm just trying to follow the Lord.
I think that's a lot of us. We don't know what we're doing. We're just trying our best to follow.
Yeah.
Right? So I wanted to ask you guys, just to get y'all's input on if somebody's listening and they're hearing you say these three letters, WMU, or they're hearing you say Women on Mission, what is that? And also, why is it important? I think you've already answered that a little bit, but I wanted to delve into that just a little bit more. Why is it important? Because, the past few episodes, we've been talking about discipleship. And I think that is something that's so necessary in the life of the church today. Yes, we need togetherness and we need to be connected, but we need that deepening of the relationship with God. And when we're discipled, discipleship is really just another person coming alongside someone and saying, "Hey, let me show you how to do this." And I think there's a wonderful opportunity for missions in that, because I know that I would have not known about what missions was until when I was saved at age 17 and I began to go to church and was there regularly. I missed out on a mission trip that our students went on, and that's all I heard about for the next 4 months. And I kept saying, I have missed this incredible opportunity. I want to be a part of these stories. I want to be a part of this. And I think that WMU, Women on Mission, all that, it gives people, maybe they can't go away for a week, but it gives them an opportunity to be part of those stories here locally. So speak to that, y'all. Y'all just one or the other, go ahead. What is it? Why is it important?
Well, Women on Mission is actually part of, another name for, Women's Missionary Union, WMU, which is a very old organization started in the Southern Baptist churches by people who were interested in missions and becoming involved and knowing how to be involved themselves.
Right, and the women, right, Ann?
And women, it was women.
Right,
Women
wanting
on
to
mission,
reach out and do
women
their part.
mission. That's exactly right.
Yeah.
and they didn't have as many opportunities at that time. We certainly have the opportunities now. So it is a teaching thing for young people. We mentioned children on missions. We mentioned GAs and RAs. So it's a teaching thing, but it's also a teaching thing for maybe women who, I said I was not raised in a Southern Baptist church, and so I didn't have those teaching opportunities. And so we learn about missionaries, and then we know how we can better pray for them. We can pray specifically for them. And we give to missions, of course. We learn about the offerings and what those offerings are doing, and we certainly do what we can. We just finished packing backpacks for kids in this state who have needs. And the next project is the shoeboxes. So we do mission projects as often as possible also.
Right, and there's that local state of Tennessee
Absolutely.
arm that you just talked about
Yes.
with the backpacks, and there's also the shoebox, which is Operation Christmas Child,
international.
which goes
Yeah.
internationally. So
Yes.
there's opportunity everywhere.
Absolutely.
So why do y'all think that it's important for women in the church to get involved with that? I mean, I know why. But I mean, like, I have my own opinion why, but I would love for our listeners to hear, you guys are active in it, all three of you. Why is it important for women to come alongside this and get involved?
Well, I think it all goes back to the Great Commission.
Yes.
We're
Yes.
called to go out into this world and make disciples, and one way we can do that is by being involved in different hands-on missions opportunities, so that we are the hands and feet of Jesus in this world, and that we're meeting the needs of people, and that we're reaching them for the kingdom of God.
Well, and we talked today and we just got through with a Women on Mission meeting about how it's important for women to have time that's just for women, because men often can come into church and they don't have any other burdens on themselves except getting themselves to their place, grabbing their own cup of coffee and sitting down, and they can take off every other responsibility. But for a lot of women, we're still wife, we're still mom,
Right.
we're still, hey, we need another nursery worker. Are you gonna, they don't ask the men to do that, but they do ask women.
They don't want
and,
to ask me to be a nurse.
Right. And, yeah. And it is because we're nurturing, and that's just part of how God made us.
Right.
But
Yeah.
this is a time for you to just come and be a woman with other women
Yes.
while you're doing these things that God's called us to. But it's also that fellowship of,
Absolutely.
sharing burdens with one another and
Yes.
praying with and for each other.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
And I think too, just as I said, I have my own opinions, but I think that it's important for moms to be focused on missions and for women to be focused on mission, because in a lot of cases, let's just be honest, you're the boss.
And he's definitely the boss.
And I know in my house that the way our relationship is that there's times where when I'm weak in something, Erin's strong, and when I'm strong in something, she's weak in that area. But one thing that I know that she has always challenged us to be missional,
Yes.
and I think that comes from a mother's heart. It comes from a woman's heart of care for other people.
Yes.
And again, like you
and
said,
it comes from my mama taking me to WMU
Right.
meetings, and,
Right.
But-
and she
but-
was my my GA leader, and
and I think that you're right when you say that, and because I don't necessarily think about it, but you're right that when I come to church on Sunday mornings, I just throw my stuff down and go get a cup of coffee and then go teach my class and go to worship. I'm not concerned about the other stuff. Now, when our kids were littler, maybe I was a little more concerned. She's rolling her eyes. But the thing is that we need that heart behind it, and I think it's vital for women to be on mission. But I wanted to ask you guys this too. For, like you said, you had a meeting today, which we're recording this during the day here at the office at church. For the women who are listening to this who maybe can't make it to those meetings right now, they're hearing this and saying, that sounds like something that I would like to be involved in. I would like to help pursue missions. I would like to help with the shoe boxes. I'd like to help with the backpacks. I would like to help with other things coming up. How do you guys what ways do you have for them to get involved? Maybe beyond the meeting.
One of the things is that if they wanted to get a hold of us, get a hold of the office and get a hold of us, we can get information to them. The upcoming project is shoeboxes, for example, and we can get a shoebox into their hands. We can get the information about what needs to be packed in that so that they could be involved if they can do that. Really, really important if they can learn about a missionary. We have prayed for a missionary family who were in Mali as Bible translators for 25 years. And so we prayed them through things like when Mali was having a famine and the community was dying. And we prayed them through things where the book of John just got translated and things like that. So if they could get personally acquainted with a missionary to pray for, to support, to not even if it's financial support, it can simply be prayer support. It can be getting a hold of that person and saying, what is a need that I can pray for and that I can support you in. A really important way to help them.
Well, and we're not beholden to just having one WMU group or one WOM group in the church. If there are younger people or people who work during the day that are interested, I mean, I'd be happy to help break off and start another group or, yeah. And they don't have to meet every month. They can meet quarterly. They can meet on Saturday mornings if we want to have a coffee time.
But the need needs to be there.
Yeah.
Or the desire, the want
Right.
for that would need to be there. Yeah.
And then another way also is through our Beach River Baptist Association. The Beach River Baptist Association right now, we have a WMU associational team. And right now, something we're actually doing right now is something called Missions Discovery Nights, where we're going to all the churches and just sharing hands-on ministry opportunities with everyone. And so anyone that wanted to find out more about, there are so many ministries just in our area to get involved in, and we just don't know about them. So part of it is just getting the information out there, educating everyone, and just communicating. And so, we can contact the Beach River Association. We can contact anyone of the team. I'm actually on the team, so I have a lot of information as well that can be shared. A lot of stuff that we can put in the hands of people as well, just to get involved. There's so much to do. There are so many things.
And so many needs.
And yes, absolutely.
Yeah, I don't think the needs ever go away.
No.
Never.
And I think that as we move into the future and people begin to reemerge or whatever you want to call that again, I think there's going to be a lot of needs that present themselves in society, in people's lives. I think people are going to be searching for something, and you don't just have a seismic shift in culture and it not cause some form of longing or some form of questioning in a lot of people. And I think we'll see that. I don't know how that will look, but I'm hoping that it leads them to the church. My prayer is that it leads them to the church, or that there are people there who are meeting needs that point them to the church, that point them to Jesus, and all that. So as we wrap up, I wanted to ask about specific things that you guys have coming up. I know you've already talked about the shoe boxes, but I also know that upcoming for women in our church and also in the area is a Simulcast event that's happening here at the church. So anything that you guys have coming up, this will be a chance for people to hear about that and know about it, put it on their calendar. So why don't we talk about that for just a minute?
Okay, yeah. So on October the 9th, this is Saturday, October the 9th at 9 a.m., we will be hosting the Priscilla Shire Simulcast here at Sandridge. It's from 9 to 3. And it sounds like, oh gosh, that might be a long day, but it's actually such a blessing. We'll have worship led by Anthony Evans Jr., which is Priscilla's brother. Miss Priscilla Shire herself will be leading in Bible study, 3 sessions of Bible study. We will break for lunch. We're going to be having lunch provided by Linwood Creations, some box lunches and we have the registration set up and ready to go right now. It's live on the Church Center, Sandridge Church Center.
They can go to there's a Church Center app. If you are connected with our church on there, you can register there just by tapping on events. and you'll see the Priscilla Shire graphic there. Or there's also a way to do it on the website. You can go to sandridge.churchcenter.com and click on the word events, and it will be there as well. And tickets are $10 for just a ticket. But $6, an additional $6 for lunch.
For lunch, right. And lunch is optional, of course. We
Yeah.
just wanted to try to make it easy for women so they didn't feel like they had to, leave or run off. But we're just saying we just want to have a day of fellowship and a day where we just come together and get in the Word together so that we can just be refreshed and renewed and encouraged. And so we just wanted to try to make it as easy as possible for women to come and join with us that day.
Awesome.
Right.
Anything else you guys have coming up?
Well, right now we're in the midst of the Golden Offering for Tennessee missions, and there's just a whole lot of things from birth choice to homeless to disaster relief to all sorts of things that mission offering is going toward. And then shoeboxes, of course, coming up after that. And then at Christmas time, Lottie Moon offering for international missions. So lots and lots of opportunities. One thing I was going to say is, if there's some particular thing, maybe you're really into children's ministry, there's an opportunity in missions there. If you're really into birth choice, there's an opportunity there. Just whatever it is, there are opportunities in missions.
Yeah, and one of the things I wanted to highlight, because I can, is that right now we're about to kick our children's choir off for the fall and winter, the fall. But come January through May, some of our WMU ladies are going to be leading a missions class for kids on Sunday nights here at the church at 5 p.m. It'll be about an hour each week, and they're going to be introducing them to how to pray for missionaries, how to learn about missions, why it's important. They're going to be doing some of their own mission projects and things through that. They're going to be helping us out with our kids' Christmas event this year as well. And so it's not just for adults. I love the fact that, part of this ministry is you reaching down to younger generations and beginning there. Like Erin was talking about, my mom brought me to these meetings. And ladies, if you're out there and you're saying, well, can I bring my kids to these meetings? Yeah. I'm sure, I don't think y'all would object, right?
No, we've had some in the past.
Yeah, and so it would be a great introduction for your girls for missions and what it means to be around other godly women. And they may complain about it, because I'm sure you did at some point. You were like, man, I don't really.
We always had food, so I didn't, that's.
Right, but I guess what I'm getting at is I think kids complain about stuff like that sometimes.
Probably.
But really, they look back on it later and they go, that was really important.
Yes.
That was really special.
Yes, sure.
And so, we're all the time looking for new events. We're looking for things to do to emphasize the importance of Christian service and growth in our faith with our kids. And I think this is so important. I'm looking forward to January through May. It's going to be good. And y'all, I know it is not going to be some boring come sit down and learn a bunch of facts class. No, I know it's going to be good. And so we're kids 1st through 6th grade, y'all get ready for that starting in January.
Right. Yeah.
Well, ladies, that's about all we have, or all the questions I have for you this week. But I always end our shows by asking you, how can we pray for you? And so, just any prayer requests that you have, how can your church be praying for you? So,
well, we hope that they will pray for the WMU, the Women on Mission, to grow and to be guided by what He would have us do in the projects and so forth that we're involved in. Ways that our church can be involved in furthering the gospel. So that's a prayer request that I have.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Danielle, anything for you?
Yeah, absolutely. Like you were saying, our church family, it's just really important when we have our church family, we know we can rely on them. And so I have a very special personal request that I want to ask everybody to pray about. Kevin and I, I mentioned we have 6 kids, and we have an older, our oldest son and his wife. And the girls, the grandbabies. would really love it if everybody would just please pray for them. Of course, I don't want to say details of the situation, but just pray for them, y'all. We really love them, and it's really hard because we're far away from them. So we don't, and they're in the Navy, and we just miss them. We love them, and there's some things that we've been praying about specifically for them, and just if our church family would join us in doing that, that would be awesome.
Absolutely,
Amazing.
we can definitely do that. Well, ladies, I want to thank y'all for giving up your precious time to be here today, and we want to thank everybody out there for listening. We've got some really cool other guests coming up very soon in the coming weeks, and so we want to thank you for being a part of this. And you can help this podcast grow by sharing it with somebody. Ask people at church, hey, have you listened to this? I think, maybe ladies, if you think this will be beneficial for another mom or another woman in the church, hey, tell them, say, hey, listen to this episode. I think it'd be really good for you. And as always, you can find us pretty much on any podcast app that you choose. We're on YouTube. There's a lot of people who watch, listen. I don't know how to describe it. They interact with it on YouTube,
Yeah.
which is great. If you're watching on YouTube, that's awesome. I know there was somebody that said to me the other day, said, I don't know what a podcast is. And I said, well, we have a YouTube video that you can go watch. And that's okay.
I'm glad it's a podcast and not a vlog.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, everybody who we asked to come on the show, they're like, are you videoing it? And I was like, no, we're not videoing it, but you would be okay if we did.
I don't know. I'm sitting here with no shoes on.
That's okay. And guys, this has been episode 5 of Better Together, and we love telling these stories and getting an opportunity to do it. So for me and Ann and Danielle,
And Erin,
just a reminder that we're always
better together.